people, and welcome back to another episode of City Skylines Modular Builds. I hope you're all having a wonderful day and are safe and keeping somewhat sane in your respective quarantines wherever you are in the world. This thing seems to be going on, so I hope that you are all staying safe and keeping well. And the Modular Builds are here to entertain you for a little while, at least for however long this video lasts, and then for you to go and build it in your own cities. So today we are going to be working with a Tram Interchange park. Now obviously this is going to make use of snowfall and park life. However, this park that we're going to place using park life is not going to be making a profit. It makes about a loss of like $100, $150. So it's not a way of kind of cheesing the park life mechanics to trick visitors into entering the gates, because for Sims to actually class as a visitor to the park and pay the park entry fee, they have to pass through either the main gate or a side gate, which for the vast majority of this park they will not be doing. But I'll kind of explain that as we get towards it and you can see the figures. But I think the aesthetic look and the function certainly negates the very slight loss in profit that you'll be making with this. Okay, so we're going to start out of course with our 4-lane road with tram tracks. These come with the Snowfall DLC. And we're going to draw out from any point in our city. Obviously this needs to be connected into an already existing tram line within your city, or I guess you could actually use it to start tram lines and then spread them out into various different neighbourhoods. So from any point you can see right here I have a 4-lane tram track that just comes to a very blunt end. I'm going to draw out from this point here by a distance of 3200, which is a distance of 32 tiles, and then the same on this one as well, 3200. And we can kind of see what's going on here. We're just going to draw in a perfect box of 3200 tiles. We've got some slightly broken zone in there. Let's try it from this angle instead. There we go. So if your zonings break like that, then it's not a major issue. It really just depends if you want the zoning tiles into it, because we will be integrating some zoning into this thing as well. Alright, so once we have our big box here, 3200 by 3200 on all sides, a perfect square of 4-way tram tracks, we're going to grab our 1-way tram track. Now we're going to draw this in just behind these 4x4 zonings along the track, so we can see if we did it one node over, like right here, we would break the 4x4s, and that's not what we want to happen. So draw your 1-way tram road out so you leave these 4x4 zonings intact alongside this main road. Okay? And then I'm going to bring this guy straight to the top. Now what we want to do with the next one is we're going to draw him out, and what we're looking for in between these two tiles right here is these two tram roads is 7 tiles in between. So you see there's 3, 4, and 7. So I want to make sure that there's 7 tiles intact. If you want to drag and drop the measurements on the main road with the 1-way tram track, it's a distance of 405. And then draw him up to there as well. And then we're going to do that one more time. Straight up, leaving these 4 deep tiles intact on this side of the main road as well, like we did over here. And that's going to give us some nice 1-way systems for our trams to feed into. Okay, so that's kind of most of the road layout done. Now it's all about the park life stuff. So we're going to come into our park life stuff. If you are not playing without park life, then by all means you could still use this. You would just have to kind of fill it out with kind of like playgrounds and stuff. That one's a little too big. You can maybe get some of the regular park assets in here if you wanted to, and detail with paths all through the middle. But for this particular build I am going to be using the park life stuff. And park life is a really good DLC if you don't have it. It's definitely one of the better ones. So using the small park main gate, I'm going to place that in right there. That's going to generate us a park area, and then we're going to go ahead and paint this out onto our roads. So if you didn't know, when you're painting any kind of district tool, you can actually snap to your road nodes, and that's just going to help keep your park areas and other districts nice and neat, and draw it in, and then just fill it in like that. Then we're going to come back and grab our park side gates, and we're going to drop these at each of the opposite ends of those tiles. So you can kind of see how they're placed in the middle. So we have 3 tiles either side of these, like 3 wide. Yeah, Okay, so for right now, your modular build should be looking a little bit something like this, and we're going to add in those final 2 park side gates into this thing. So you can kind of place these any side you want, however I'm just going to go for pretty much bang in the middle. So for like one right there, and then we can place one on this side as well. So all in all, we've got a total of 6 side gates, so you can kind of see how they fit. They're all mirroring one another, and you know, that's pretty simple to follow, I hope. So now let's have a look at some paths. You can use any path you like for this, however some good suggestions would be the amusement park path. Looks really nice. It's a little more colourful, it's got those palm trees on it as well, and the zoo path also looks really great as well. I want to go for the zoo path just because it's like my favourite path in the game, but feel free to use whichever one you want to. So from these 2 side gates we have right here, we're just going to start drawing those paths together. So one out of this one, and that's going to hook him into there, and then we can snap onto the road guideline right here. We're going to draw it in between these 2 tram lines, same again between these 2, and then finally out of the park gate. So right now we have a path that cuts right across the trams, and that's going to allow people to cross from the road and from this tram line into that one, and then from this side into that one. Okay, super. Then same thing with these park gates at the top. Just going to intersect those zoo paths right through the middle, and they'll have something that looks a little bit like that. If you think you're maybe looking a little too clustered, then use the version of the path without decorations, and then that'll just give you a few less trees. But I like the trees, so it's kind of up to you. Or even if you wanted to, just to help make it a little more kind of varied, delete these ones that cross through the middle, and then just use the ones without decorations to kind of intersect them. You know, it's going to look a little less cluttered, maybe keep the main paths through. You know, this part of the modular build is entirely up to you as to how you want to kind of construct this and the vibe you want to go for. I'm just going to kind of show you how I would maybe place some of the assets. So with this tram line directly through the middle, I'm going to place a couple of park info booths along here. So I'm placing it along the path, and I'm going to bring it as close to the tram line as I can, and then mirror it on the other side as well. And that's going to give us a nice little bit of tree decoration right up alongside the tram line here. I think it looks pretty good. And then maybe we can place in a couple of park restrooms opposite here, and we can line these right up alongside the tram line as well. I think it's pretty cool. It's pretty nice looking. You can kind of be as packed out or as minimalistic with this as you want. If you want to go a little more colourful, maybe throw in a couple of climbing frames maybe. Maybe mirror these over here, like that. So I don't think that's too bad looking. No, it might be a little bit overkill. It's all up to you as to how you want to place these things. You could place gazebos in as well if you wanted to. You do have some room for park plazas kind of alongside the main roads, alongside the tram lines. You're a little bit too tight kind of in the middle of this thing for them, but feel free to kind of place these either side of your entrances. Might look quite nice up alongside the tram lines. So you kind of get, you know, like a mirrored effect. It depends how, you know, if you want this thing to be kind of super mirrored, then you can do that. Just place these things in. Obviously make sure that you don't delete your park paths, that would be bad news indeed. There we go, so come in. So you can see the hit detection boxes with each of the asset, and just draw them in kind of as you want to. Okay, so right now we've got something that looks a little bit like that. We've got a nice kind of big centre that's going to have all different trams flowing through it. It's going to look really nice once it's all done. So right now everything's kind of very flat, so we can add another dimension of height into this. Of course, you guys know what's coming. It's the old elevated zoo paths. So adding in an elevated walkway for this thing is a really nice way of, you know, just adding a different layer of height. So I think I'm just going to delete 2 of these plazas either side. No, you guys don't have to add the elevated walkway in. So right behind our restroom right here, I'm just going to bring the snap node as close as it can go. And then I'm going to come up by 3 steps at my lowest elevation point. And that's going to be a distance of a cost of 102. You know, elevated zoo paths look really great. They have this like, I'm always championing these things. Like the handrails look really nice. They have this little moss kind of feature that comes under them. It's really, really great. I love them. And then I'm going to draw these out to either side of the outer tram tracks. So just a little bit like that. Okay. And then what I can do is hook them into the bottom point like this. Just come out a little bit further with this one. So we're lining up with the road guideline at the entrance of this side gate over here. All at 90-degree angles. And then we can come down a little bit like this. And then you can also do the same coming back down over this side too. So it really depends kind of how kind of decorative you want to be with this thing. But the elevated tube paths, you know, they just look so nice. Certainly the best elevated path in the game. Okay. And then what you can do as well, if we do want to factor some zone into this, you've got these nice deep tiles here with big shapes to fill in. There's a perfect 4x4 right on the corner here. I'm going to put park gates during the detailing session within these things here. And around some of the edges too. Probably pop in some more zone in there. You could also as well, if you wanted to integrate residential into this, maybe a bank of residential on one side. If you want to keep it lower high density, it's up to you. If you wanted to throw in some of the regular park assets, perhaps a couple of small parks on the corners of these main roads over here. And kind of mix and match with some of that high density commercial, so we're going to get a really nice busy street corner right here with some high density on one side, a couple of parks on the other, and then the tram interchange on the other corner with a little bit of zoning in here as well, which we placed in. Also, if you wanted to, you could go ahead and throw in a couple of unique buildings, maybe kind of company headquarters from the Japanese Content Creator Park. You've got some other stuff here as well, you know, so depends how tall you want this thing to be. Throw in some skyscrapers, use zoning, use some unique buildings around this thing. You know, it's obviously kind of, as you're zooming out above your downtown, it's something of significant importance. It's very mirrored on either side, so you know, throw some unique buildings in with it. So what I'll do now, guys, is we're going to jump into a detailing time lapse. I'm going to throw in some park fences around here, let some of this zoning develop, and build some tram lines to run through this thing. And then we'll kind of come back once it's finished growing, and we'll see how things develop. So we'll be right back. Alright guys, let's take a quick look around this thing before we jump into the detailing kind of outro tag and check this thing out at night time and see how it looks. So just a couple of little detailing ideas I've put together. You know, you kind of do all of these or one of them or a mixture, really is up to you. So lining the tram tracks with bushes looks really great. Filling some of these empty spaces in between with rocks and trees also looks really nice as well. Also breaking the pattern of the fence so it doesn't come to all four corners of the main road, just helps add in a nice couple of different shapes. You can see I've just kind of boxed in some commercial around the corner right here. Similar on this side as well. Filled it into the corner and then broke it at the commercial. And then did kind of the same thing over here, kind of bending it around the back of it. And then over here as well. So you don't always have to go to kind of all four corners. I kind of added in some high rises around it. You know, it kind of serves as a nice open plaza in front of your really important buildings if you're looking to kind of do that. Or you can line it up with some residential and it'll look kind of really nice. You know, a nice little view from all these residences looking over this tram park. Placed in some overgrowth will also look quite nice as well. You know, no one ever walks on this little bit of ground here, so it would make sense for it to be a little bit overgrown. And also lining kind of the fronts of the park with some nice symmetrical, smaller trimmed trees also works quite nicely as well. We can see we should hopefully get some passengers coming on and off here too. See, there's people waiting at the tram stops now. And we'll wait for a tram to pull up. Hopefully there's one on its way. Yeah, here he comes. Actually, quick note before he does arrive, let's do some traffic management stuff. So open up your infographic views, come into traffic routes, junctions, and then we can toggle our traffic lights here. We don't want any traffic lights in this thing. So where the one-way tram tracks enter, turn off all the traffic lights here. There's no need for one there either. You know, this isn't a functioning city, so I haven't gone through to manage all the traffic lights, and I guess there's no need for one there either. So we'll turn off the traffic lights and just let everyone flow. And hopefully we'll see some people kind of emerge into the tram park right here. So there we go, some nice people coming off. So the thing I was talking about at the start of the episode, let's have a look at the little park infographic here. So we can see, whack your park price up to the top, it'll help you cut into this deficit a little bit more. So for visitors this week, for this number to go up, the Sims have to pass through any of these 6 gates that we have around the edges of the park, right? However, because they're arriving by tram and then getting off inside the park itself, they're not classed as visitors, so that means that they won't pay the fee, which means that this park will almost always be at a loss. However, you can see that loss is really, really minimal as you bump up your price. Like, you will still get people using these side gates, you know, you don't need to worry about that. But your park will absolutely hit level 5 because, you know, you've got so much room for different assets. You can see the entertainment level that we're at. And yeah, you know, you will get people coming through the gates, however you will also get people coming up the tram roads as well. So if you're looking for kind of an efficient city park, then this probably isn't the way to go. Maybe just leave the park stuff out of it and just use paths, but bear in mind that you won't be able to place your park assets inside because they need to be within a park area itself or up against a road, which means this thing would kind of take on a totally different theme if it had roads running all the way through it. So it's really up to you, but you know, that's it for today, I guess. We'll jump into a nice outro tag now and check out this thing at night time and move on some of these tram tracks and see how it all comes together. But otherwise, if you did enjoy the video, a like below is very much appreciated. Equally much if you didn't, please feel free to leave a dislike and let me know if you have any suggestions or improvements for this particular build. I'm always happy to kind of get your guys' take on these things. But I'll leave it there. Let's go ahead and jump into the outro tag. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, enjoy the rest of your day.